My name's Wendy Eiby. I'm the manager of Pemberton Northcliffe Visitor Centres in this region. Here we are going up the Dave Evans Bicentenial tree. It's one of the 3 remaining fire lookout trees that you can climb in the region. This one is the tallest one. It wasn't actually constructed as a fire lookout tree, it was built as a tourist attraction for Australia's bicentenary. We do still have 2 of the old fire lookout trees in existence, the diamond tree and the Gloucester tree. They were both built in the 1940s. And for a very long time they were actually used as fire lookout trees. Right through summer, somebody would sit up the tree during daylight hours all day every day, just to spot any smoke. If they saw any smoke anywhere, they'd get a bearing for the location of the fire and report it straight away to the forestry department. These days all 3 of the trees are just used as tourist attractions. They tend to use spotter planes where they can for the fires now. Occasionally the fire lookouts will still be in use if the weather's too bad for the planes to get up. The bicentennial tree is the tallest of all 3 of them. It's a really lovely tree to climb. When you get to the top, you're actually above the canopy of the forest. It's true old growth forest right through this area, so it's a really beautiful location. The karri forests aren't quite as diverse as the jarrah forests and the coastal heathlands. They've been fairly stable for a very long time. They tend to always have a high level of rainfall. Then the karris need at least 1,000 millimetres of rain a year to survive. And they've got a relatively fertile soil, the karri loam soil, so the plants that live in amongst the karri don't need to come up with specific adaptations to survive. So it's a fairly standard set of understory plants and birds and animals that you'll find throughout the karri forest, throughout the high rainfall belt. Even a 100-year-old karri is basically just like a long tall pole. They take 60 to 100 years to reach their full height. It's only after that they expand their girth. When they get to about 250 to 300 years old, they'll lose the crown out of the top of the tree, and that's when it becomes a senescent tree. But it doesn't mean the tree dies. It'll still keep standing until eventually it deteriorates and falls over. But yeah, the average age of the karris in the true old growth forest is around 300.
Is that all?
Well, they can be up to 500-600, but the average age is 300.
Really?
Yep.
It's comparably quite young compared to something like an Antarctic beach. Or
Yes.
Where we were at the Goblin Forest. I think.
Goblin Swamp, yep.
Goblin Swamp.
Yep.
What were those trees again?
Between 750 to 1,000. So.
And once we get to the top, what can we see?
On a good day off to the, you'll be able to see the Yeagerup Dunes, and then you can see a lot of the farmland and just across the canopy of the forest. It's just really beautiful. When you're up in the top, you'll see a lot of the birds and insects and things like that only occur in the canopy, particularly purple crown lorikeets and a few other birds that you don't just ever see on the ground. They're always up high on the canopy. Fungi plays an important role in the karri forests and all our forests. Scientists believe that the fungi actually forms, or a lot of the time the fungi will actually form a symbiotic relationship with plants, and it's a mutual benefit for both the plant and the host and the fungi, providing food and things like that. But also the scientists also believe that the fungi can often provide protection for the host tree against introduced pathogens. Fungi in the forests has probably changed over time since European settlement, because we've changed all the land use patterns, and with the logging and with the changed fire regime, it's probable that the fungi that were around 150, 200 years ago aren't as abundant as they were. And so and we also don't have a lot of our little mammals anymore in the forest because of the introduction of foxes and cats. And those little mammals would have been the ones who were actually digging around in the soil and dispersing the fungal spores right throughout the forest.
So they played quite a critical role in maintaining the balance and diversity of the forest.
Yes. Once you start to tamper with one little aspect of the ecology, you can really have a chain reaction of other impacts right through. Changing the fire regime. These days our fires tend to be a lot hotter, more intense, and in much bigger areas than what they were previously thought to be. So when you have a really big hot fire these days, it's really hard for the wildlife to actually escape that. And it can also really damage the forest as well if it becomes too intense. If you see a patch of forest after a fire and the trees have leaves just popping straight out of the trunk from the epicormic buds, the tree's basically gone into survival mode, and the fire that went through there was a bit too hot. The fire lookouts, I've had people climb them in less than 5 minutes. They were racing to the top. But yeah, generally it take you 5-10 minutes to get to the top. The Bicentennial tree and the diamond tree are good because they have a lower platform. You can stop and have a little rest on the way up and down. Then you continue on up to the top. When you get to the top, it's beautiful to just sit there and take in the view for half an hour and just sort of reflect on what an achievement is to climb this high. The Bicentennial tree is the tallest climbing tree in the world. The Gloucester tree is the tallest fire lookout tree in the world. And then it only takes you 5-10 minutes to come back down again.
Or a lot less.
Yeah, well, you can take the shortcut. I advise against that though.